All right, you guys should be good. So I'll be in the background. Have fun.
Okay. So basically for the Havre de Grace Economic Development Advisory Board, awaiting our chairperson to come in. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the whirlwind that's going on in economic development, relevant to the governor's announcements predicated on COVID and grant deadlines, et cetera, new businesses and things that have been going on within the since last we spoke as a group. So we've had several businesses that have opened in Havre de Grace. I really appreciate those of you who were able to go and attend some of those openings. As you know, most of the businesses are doing these on a much smaller scale. They're not doing the gatherings. They are trying to do things that fit in with the guidelines as we know them. Those have gotten much stricter. It's like Warren's able to come in. Well, he's
Yes,
okay.
I'm in.
Hi, Warren. I was just giving my report. Would it be okay if I continue with that? I'm going to go with an okay.
Please do.
Okay. So
Are you not getting me?
I can hear you. It's a little light, but I can hear you, Warren. So
All right.
things that have occurred in recent days. You may have heard that the Black-Eyed Susan paddle wheel boat has been sold. It's going to the slower shore of Maryland. Larapin, who was doing catering there, has thus come up with a pretty innovative idea where they're doing Larapin catering out of River City Public House and doing 4 different fully packaged family meals every week, switching it out. So a lot of the restaurants are quickly responding to the lessening of capacity. They went from a 75% to a 50%. Unfortunately, that was the same week that the city of Havre de Grace had to let everyone know we're going to start removing the Jersey walls for the outdoor dining. I hate to use the 4-letter word, but we have to plan for snow and snow removal, so we can't have the Jersey walls there. We had a very positive response from the restaurants, understanding why we had to move them, and have been working with us. The State Theater has opened. They're at limited capacity as well. They do have food available. They've scaled back a lot of their operations. A lot of people are a little concerned with the State Theater operating, but unless you've been inside it, they also have editing bays and recording studios. There's other activities that are going on within the confines. So it sometimes makes people a little bit nervous, but it is functioning in that capacity. Water Street Seafood, since last we talked, has announced that they're going in at 650 Water Street, which is, of course, the old Price's Crab House. Their original intent was end of November, but they're looking at December 15th now for their date of open. They have completely gutted the place. It looks a miracle for those of you who haven't seen it. They released their menu online today. Really good looking menu for lunch and dinner. So very much looking forward to that. And then both Julie and I have worked with Marta Markline, who had a business co-located in town, I want to say 2 years ago, and she's going to be locating
everybody not speaking, go on mute.
At 233 St. John Street, which is the Distinctive Decor building. Distinctive Decor will continue to operate upstairs, and then the front of the building, the commercial space, will be the Wedding Boutique of Maryland, which is kind of billing itself as a multi-vendor wedding and event center space. Earlier this morning, I had a meeting online with the Business Resiliency Task Force of the Harford County Chamber of Commerce. All of the economic development directors, both municipal and county, were involved in that. I got scant details at this moment, but a lot of the grants that went out to our restaurants and small businesses as emergency grants, these were $5,000, $7,500, and $10,000 grants. There is going to be a second round coming from Harford County. This is part of their original COVID CARES funding that came from the feds down to the state and state parcels to municipal. That second round is a 2.9 million, if I understand the figures correctly, which means the businesses that received the first grant round from Harford County will receive a second stimulus in the same amount without filling out a new application. Businesses who did not receive money in that first round can go on the Harford County Office of Community and Economic Development website and fill out an application online to get in the queue for this second round of funding. They would have until December 4th to complete that application. It's a very, very simple application. The goal is to get the money out there, not to hold back money. So this second round came about because of the governor's press conferences and that restricting businesses even further. We were hoping it wasn't going to happen, but the numbers have been just quite dramatic. So we're monitoring all of that, obviously working with the businesses seeking grants, helping the restaurants with the information as far as what their capacity limits are. I don't know if anybody's looked at the governor's proclamation regarding those capacity requirements, but this time the governor has put a rather stiff financial penalty on any business that is found to be in violation. He's quite serious. I won't say exactly what he said in regard to wearing the mask, but he's saying that repeatedly. And that's basically what I'm working on this side. I did send you out some information, how many closed accounts we had relevant to using the Salesforce system. What I'm doing within Salesforce is updating each of our businesses that have received EIDL, COVID CARES, Maryland grant, Harford County grant, or PPP funding, so we can monitor who has received grant funding from these different programs under COVID, as well as matching them up with facade and tenant fit out grant funding as well. So that can be monitored and tracked through our finance department, as well as through the Office of Economic Development. And Chairman Hartenstein, I'll turn it over to you, sir. You're still on mute, Warren.
Tell him how to get off of it.
There we go. Okay. Did you take care of the minutes while you were starting the meeting, Erica?
No.
That doesn't really matter. Let's go forward in order to expedite this and get into the task groups. How about Robert Andrews? Is he with us?
I don't see him on here.
Robert? Okay, I don't know who the 410591 is. Okay. All right.
Clark.
How about Jason? What's up? Yeah.
The
So
phone
you, Robert?
number is Clark.
Hello. Oh, are you there, Robert? Oh, that's Clark. Okay. Okay. Jason, let's go to
Mark
you.
here.
What's up?
Hey, gang. Just a couple things. So, the past, I don't know, maybe 3 months worth of council meetings, there have been a lot of ordinances, resolutions, amendments, all pertaining to planning and code enforcement. So I suggest, if there's anyone interested in those, to look at the minutes or the videos from prior meetings or the past few ordinances. It's mostly just, cleanup of language and, cleaning up some of the code that exists just to make things more consistent or more relevant to existing uses. So, I'd be happy to direct anyone who's interested or has questions to the proper channel, but I would like to just discuss the the proposals that, I guess the asks that the city of Havre de Grace presented to the Harford County delegation during today's pre-session legislative meeting. It was held at the county council chambers, and there are a couple things that I think this group might be a little interested in. Number one is that the city is asking the delegation to aid us with getting a copy of the Cushman Wakefield study shared with the city. So we're hoping that the delegation will help the city obtain a full copy of the Cushman Wakefield study that was done in 2016. Along with that, the city has asked our delegation that they put forward another measure this year, as they did last year, to fund an economic impact study. I believe that was HB 1277. And I did have a conversation with Delegate Johnson last Monday, and he actually brought to my attention that they'll be putting in another bond bill for that. So hopefully we'll be able to get some dollars to have our own independent economic study done for that building downtown. Another thing that may be of note to the group is that the city has taken a position against any state mandates that would remove the city's ability to identify or curtail how 5G small cell towers will look. So the city's basically against any sweeping legislation that would take the power of the aesthetic aspect out of the city. The city actually came up with an ordinance last year to have at least some credentials in place, some characteristics described for what small cell towers should look like, where they should be placed, all that kind of stuff. And that was just in an effort to make sure that we had something on the books prior to the deadline that was given by the state. I believe the state tried to do the same thing last year. I myself am of two minds about it. I understand that it's probably hard for larger businesses, to have to move municipality by municipality and structure their equipment to fit each municipality's need. So on one side, the techie guy in me wants to see just like a statewide set of standards that would help us move much faster. But the Havre de Grace public official in me wants to make sure that we have something that meets our standards and our needs here in this town. Because it's going to be an eyesore for generations. So, I understand the city's position there. And the city maintains that the A&A tax, for those of you who don't know, it's the emissions amusement tax, should remain in place. The only facility in the city that is pertinent to that is the golf course at Fully Rock, which, is basically a pass-through tax. People that play a game at the golf course would have to, there's a small fee generated from that, almost like a sale, but not really a sale. It's just a tax on the cost of playing the game. So the city is keeping the A tax opposed to its removal. And I think that that's really it that's of interest to this group. There is a little bit more detail on here. It was read in its entirety at Monday's council meeting, so if you watch that on YouTube, you'll be able to get it. Or if you're interested, if you want a copy, just shoot me an email. I'll be happy to forward it to you.
Jason,
Yes, ma'am.
Eric and I had met with some gentlemen that work in the telecom industry, looking at what our requirements were downtown, et cetera. And they had shown us there are light posts, you know, the antique looking light posts, similar to what we already have downtown, that are essentially hollow, and you can put all the 5G stuff inside these light posts. So I'm not saying that's a specific one, but you're concerned about companies have to deal with different places. This stuff exists, and it's not going to be that hard for them to find historical looking things that would fit in our town.
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, they've done an amazing job with the aesthetics. They've done some that look, yeah, like you said, like antique light posts. There's some that look like actual trees. I think, you know, my concern is that, and there have been several articles written about this, about how slow the 5G rollout is in America and why. And one of the reasons is having to navigate, you know, like circumferences in each township or municipality could be different, you know, across the state or state. And, you know, there are height restrictions in some and distances from homes in some, which, you know, affects how the network is laid out. So, yeah, that's all that I was speaking to. You know, my only hesitation with the city's position. However, I do agree with the city's position because I, you know, definitely think that it's in our best interest to maintain character of the town.
Okay.
Clark, have you been trying to
Yes.
get in with a question? I see you blinking.
You see me blinking? I
Go
wasn't
for it.
blinking. This is not a Zoom call. This is just a
Oh, I
conference call,
thought you were
right? I don't
trying to
see
get
anybody.
in. Okay, I thought you were trying.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
Now I've lost you.
Well, I didn't know if you were trying to ask Jason a question. So,
No, I wasn't. I don't know.
okay.
I don't even know how you're supposed to blink.
I don't know why I'm having, is everybody else having trouble? Okay, no problem. Robert, you've joined us.
Yes, I have. Excuse my tardiness. Had a little technical difficulty a little bit ago. So good afternoon, everyone.
You and me both. Do you want anything special from the county? What's up?
Oh, yes. No, be happy to share a few things. Right now, our offices have reverted back to a closed position, and all of our economic development staff is working remotely until the near future. We will monitor the COVID numbers and follow the governors and county executives' directives. We continue with our grants program. We have 5 grants programs operating right now. We're working on a 6th, and most of the current grant programs that are out, all new applications must be in no later than December 4th, at which time we still have about $9.1 million to distribute. So the idea is that we will probably, and this isn't 100% yet, but everyone who has received a grant and has applied and received a grant from the county in any one of those 5 programs will probably be receiving another duplicate amount of money. And that's just based on the amount of money left over by the time we get to that December 4th period. We are working on another batch of money that the state and the governor has announced, one specifically for restaurants. That batch of money, we are reviewing the rules and regulations, which are different somewhat than the CARES Act money we received earlier in the year. So once we are able to disseminate exactly what those rules are and put the application together in the audit trail, we'll be rolling that out as soon as we can. The CARES Act money still has a December 30th spend date. So that's why it is important that we get the rest of this money out on the street as quickly as we can, because it does have to be spent by December 30th. The governor's money, we're not, we have a longer timeline to get that distributed, but we still want to get in the hands of the restaurants as soon as possible to help them get through these winter months. There is some news. Steve Overbay, the deputy director of our department, has actually announced that he will no longer, he is leaving the county as of December 4th and has taken on a new job as the director of economic development for the county for Cecil County. So we are sad to see him leave, but we are happy to see him take on this new responsibility. The Grove, the agribusiness incubator that we launched recently, we had hoped to have another large event there this Saturday, the 21st, but because of the COVID numbers and the directives from the governor and the county executive, we have canceled that event. Our December 5th event, we are still monitoring and will continue to monitor the situation to see how that is affected going forward. Within a week or so, we'll reevaluate and may have to cancel that event also. But the Grove vendors are still there operating and selling their wares. That's all, Warren.
Okay, thank you, Robert. To move on to the strategic initiatives, the groups had obviously provided comment, and then I consolidated it, added some of my own editorial comments and pushed it back out to you on November 1st. I guess we could go in order. I again want to emphasize that really these, and I'd like to see us move most of these strategic initiatives to action by June, and it would be delightful to. Jason, what is the election? Who's up for election in May?
It's myself, Council Member Zinner, and Council Member Martin.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the first one was the auditorium and gymnasium alternative. I think it's, from my point of view, I didn't. It's my understanding that Evonik has approached the county about the surplusing of the school. So from a just a courtesy point of view, I think we would have to address that, but that would, Erica, that would fall to your leadership. I mean, we're not going to be able to go and knock on Evonik's door and say, hey, are you guys interested in building a tech center on the high school property?
That's probably something that's better left for private conversations with the industry itself.
Right. That's exactly what I think. But in order for the group to go forward, and that's Beetle, Chris, and Julie, then the other alternatives, to clarify those other alternatives, which are, it seems to me to be city-owned rec center or organizationally owned rec center, a combination rec and performing arts center. That, you know, it's kind of a thing where we've got to answer three questions at once. So we also, I guess, need to talk to, there was some, I had heard rumors, and I'm not sure where I heard them from, that the YMCA was interested in coming to Heritage. Anybody?
I haven't heard that.
I guess maybe I dreamed it. Maybe I dreamed it, but it might be.
No,
an
I've heard that.
alternative,
I've talked to them. They would be interested in coming.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the question for that group, I think the overriding question is one of cost to the city. You know, if operating a center competitive or that duplicates the services of the senior center, you got to look at the cost of that, and I think that's a significant consideration. And I do think that's what the city's asking us to look at, by the way. Julie?
Yes. What are you asking me?
Comment? Does that make sense, I guess? You were the one who submitted the report. Does that seem to make sense?
Well, yes. I mean, how much does it cost to run the building, renovate the building so it's usable? I don't think it's a competition or redundant to the senior center. But yes, I mean, that is one of the big questions, is if, I thought that was the basis of the question to start with. If it's too expensive to renovate and run that building, what else could it be? And I thought that was the whole question we were asked to answer.
Okay, good. I think we're on target. I do think we need to qualify the Evonik thing. I think one of the things with Evonik, since they're depending on an Atlanta-based R&D center, is there any risk to their continued operation in Havre de Grace if they don't have if they don't develop their own tech center? I'm not sure, but again, that's a conversation that we have with Evonik, or that the city, I think, Erica has with Evonik, or whoever, Erica. We need your guidance there. Okay?
Understood.
Yeah, Warren,
Staying mute. Erica,
I said understood. You wanted guidance
Jason.
from Evonik
Or
on their future
speaking?
plans. I'll have to talk to them about future plans.
Okay.
Okay, what's next, Warren?
Been some instability with my
Hello?
network, so I'm flashing in and out from time to time. Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay. The next group, well, Mike Allen was working with, go ahead. Julie, you were still speaking? Anybody? Erica?
I wasn't speaking. I can if you tell me which topic you want me to speak on.
Well, I think we need some help accessing Evonik, having a conversation with them. So it's my opinion, if, at least to find out exactly what they're thinking. Does that sound okay?
Yes, I will go ahead and contact my contacts at Evonik to see if they're ready to talk to a group or organization about what.
I can't tell if I'm having network problems or are you?
I'm having the same thing at different times.
Warren, why don't you go on to the next topic?
Okay, thank you. Upper Chesapeake repurposing the building. Say again, Clark?
Well,
Okay.
on our group, I
Upper
went.
Chesapeake Health.
Can you hear me? Warren?
Yeah,
We can hear you, Clark.
Warren may just need to try to
Can
call
you hear
or
me
something.
now?
He's having internet problems.
Can you hear me now?
I am too. It's in and out. From our last meeting, I contacted.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's, why this is happening. My speed test tells me I'm in great shape. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, very quickly on the second group, Mike Allen, the city is in conversation with, direct conversation with the Upper Chesapeake, and the study, the Cushman-Wakefield study, is to be shared, as Jason already mentioned, with the city. So that task is largely now out of our hands and in the city administration's hands. The Bully Rock property, the Upper Chesapeake property at Bully Rock, that's Beetle, Clark, and Jason.
Okay. I don't think Beetle and I or Jason have not met on that one. The only meeting I had was with Mike Allen when we were talking more about the downtown hospital. So I think we need to get together.
Okay. So more to come. It's a difficult issue, and one that'll take may take some very hard decisions. Okay. Industrial Park Work Group, David called. He got called into a meeting. Julie, you're on that group, and I was on that group, but I didn't actually participate. But David said that he and Harry Stokes and I forget who else were the ones in the discussion, and they're trying to put together, I think working with Erica, trying to put together a kind of focus group with the industries in the park to discuss what their needs and what collaborative programs we can do together. Is that correct?
Yes, Warren, I've talked to the various businesses that are inside the industrial park, as well as several on Revolution Street and going down Juniata, just to find out if they have interest in the immediate future for having a Zoom meeting, since we couldn't have a meeting together based upon the governor's standards. I was asked by 3 of those businesses if they could do it for the first quarter of 2021, because this is their busy shipping season with, especially with timely products. They said if it's going to be now, they just simply can't do it. So if that's acceptable, then I'll try and set something up for within the month of January. And I think we'll be able to pull something off at that point to get everybody together.
Super. I don't think size is I think getting a beginning is important. I don't think size or universal representation is critical. Does that make sense? The yellow box isn't appearing, so I'm not sure. I said, I'm not sure size matters
It
as
makes
much as
sense.
getting it started. Great. That sounds good, Erica. One thing that was mentioned during and I mentioned it in my notes. Sorry. One thing that was mentioned from actually the hospital work group was whether or not, and Jason, whether or not the city should speak to the delegation about testing the interest in the National Guard and moving on to APG in the vacant space that's now on the Aberdeen side, and freeing up that acreage, which is basically indolent. It's underutilized by the National Guard for further expansion of Chesapeake Industrial Park. So that, I don't know where you go with that, but it sounds like it would be at least a worthwhile conversation.
Yeah, Warren.
If anybody would understand,
Yes.
Okay.
No.
I don't think that that's a terrible idea. The only downside is, and I know that it's been floated before, the state's put some money back there, and I believe that they're expanding again. So I don't know that, that they'd be looking to just close up shop and move on to federal installation.
Yeah.
Nor do I know that the federal installation would have, welcomed them with open arms. I mean, there's plenty of buildings, the old schoolhouse buildings and all that they could be used as converge centers. They're still not. So I don't know. But it is worth having that conversation. That's something I think our executive would have to take up with. There's a guy, I forget his name, but it's
When you
guard guy that handles all of the property.
well, when you drive around behind, I guess I'm really breaking up on you guys. That's what it
Yes.
appears to be. I can't tell from my side. Is that right?
yes, you're breaking up.
Is that what's happening?
Yes, Warren, you're breaking
Yes.
up.
Hello? Yes?
Yes,
All
Warren.
right, let me,
Up. Yes.
okay, let me try and bring up the iPad quick. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. I didn't know that this would be a problem. Well, let's, to the extent the new business and commercial vacancies, that was,
Lost you.
what would be desirable businesses downtown? Hello.
Well, if you're asking about desirable businesses downtown, we have 2 spaces that are currently vacant. 212 is with a print shop and stationery store. We're currently looking for a spot for a custom butcher who wishes to go in downtown, but we haven't been able to find a location for them. We have somebody who's got an offer in on PNC, the old bank building, and talking to the property owner on the former BB&T.
Oh, yeah.
There is apparently a client who's looking at that as well. So we've heard from a lot of folks that they want experiential places, axe throwing, escape rooms, those type of events. We don't have a great deal of space in order to accommodate those in a downtown location. But we are still working. We have had quite a few requests actually of a deli. I have not secured one, although the former Price's seafood, they are going to have deli sandwiches there, I understand, having talked to them about it. And we have had requests for a CBD store or business, and there is one that is going in downtown as well. So on my end of the coin, that's what I receive requests for or have heard from people about. Every couple of months, I'll get a request for a hardware store, a pet store, and a deli. Those are the ones that come out quite frequently.
Okay. All right. The yacht basin, Paul and Malcolm, why don't you guys pick that up?
Okay, thanks, Warren. We have had a couple of meetings over the last couple of weeks. Initially, we started by the group, Mal, Robert Andrews, and yourself. We reviewed the marina operations review that was prepared quite a while back, but even though it's dated, we took a look at it and it gave us some pretty good background on how the marina runs and what's, how it works, how the operations work, and how the customers are taken care of, so to speak. So upon reviewing that, we then decided, the group decided to go down to the marina and take a look at the place, and we did a walkthrough and just got a handle on the general condition of the marina, and the number of slips, the number of slips that were occupied, the number of transient slips, and so forth. And we took a look at that, and at this point now, we're hopefully going to be able to have some meaningful dialogue with the Marina Commission. And we've got a meeting scheduled with those folks this evening. So hopefully we'll, like I say, have some good dialogue, maybe come up with a go-forward plan to look at some of the things like amenities for the slip holders. How do we increase traffic down there? Particularly transient traffic that would then flow into the city. So we've got a lot of things that are on our mind, and we kind of want to get with the Marina Commission people and kind of see what their feelings are and how that marina works currently. And at that point, then we'll get back to this group and let them know what's going on. Anybody out there?
Thanks. We did in the process, well, go ahead, Mal, anything to add?
No, I think Paul covered it quite well. We just need to meet with the commission and see what their vision of the marina and where they want to go before we could go any further. And then, like Paul said, we'll be meeting with them later.
How do rates compare
Having
with what
sign-in
people pay in the
problems on
city
the-
yacht basin versus the private?
That's a great question, Clark. They appear to be very, very low relative to the other marinas. in Havre de Grace, as well as our neighboring marinas in Northeast and up in Port Deposit, what have you. That was one of the things that Mal, Robert, Warren, and myself did, is we did a survey. We called the various marinas around here, and we are the yacht basin is very, very. It appears to be way underpriced. So that's one of the things that we intend to talk to those folks about. Maybe we shouldn't be priced quite that low.
I would agree.
We're the low price leader.
That we are.
It's true.
And we've got some neat amenities as well. We have it's a pretty well, the infrastructure is pretty solid down there, and in addition to that, we also have fuel pumps, which is for boaters, that's a pretty big deal. So I'm not sure that we need to be the low cost provider, given the where we're located, so close to downtown Havre de Grace, and like I said, some of the other things we have, including fuel. So we're still learning, and that's why this meeting with the Marina Commission should be pretty enlightening for us.
And there, one of the other things I think we learned is Wi-Fi, lockable gates, lighting, camera security, all relatively inexpensive enhancements that could really class up the marina. And finally, one other thing, out of the 200 odd slips, 63 are occupied by residents of Havre de Grace.
Pretty low percentage. I was surprised.
So we're about 30%, right? Yeah. Yeah, I guess it surprised us, given that in the meeting when they met with us as EDAB, the aspiration was to be Havre de Grace's blue collar marina, but it appears that may be an unrealized goal. So, okay. While I'm trying to get in on another system, after Yacht Basin, we have the culturally significant preservation. I think that's
that's me, Maria, and Lisa. Yeah.
Scott Coleman.
Okay. We have gotten some progress. It's been through email connections and trading of ideas. We're at the point now where amongst the three of us, we've developed a list of just under 30 sites. It's, some are buildings, some are places, some are actually, the river and the bay. Trying to come up with a comprehensive look at what makes people interested in being in Havre de Grace, what they think about when they think of the city, what makes them want to come here, and so forth and so on. We've also come to the realization that, oh, Warren, you just disappeared. Looks like you dropped your computer.
I've signed in.
All right, I'm gonna wait for a second till see if we get Warren back. It's like you fell off the end of the earth. Proving once again the wonders of technology.
Okay, there I am.
Okay, there we go. All right, so we've got amongst the three of us a starting point for discussion. But I think we've also realized that if we want to know what people think of when they think of Havre de Grace or the things that draw them to Havre de Grace, what better way to get input than to actually get it from the people who become visitors. So we have a notion that it would be very helpful to set up, if you will, a Survey Monkey or some other survey device, most likely on the tourism website, where we could ask people directly, when they visit the visitor center or when they come to town, or if they just come and want to go online and look and see what's going on in Havre de Grace, ask them to give us a minute and tell us what they're interested in, why they're interested, the things that they tend to patronize, and so forth and so on. And then just really collect raw data about our visitors as to why they're coming, the things they like. Could also ask for things that they feel are missing that could be added. And that way we'd inform a list rather than just having the opinion of three people. We'd actually have input from the wider community, which is who we're trying to gear this notion to, so that the city can highlight and work towards making those places better known and more attractive to everybody that is thinking about coming here or does come here. So that's where we are.
Okay. So it's a kind of double thing. You're identifying real estate, but you're also identifying consumer interest.
Well, and I think that was our charge, was, culturally significant means what draws people to Havre de Grace? Why do they want to come? What do they come back to see over and over again? It could be a restaurant, it could be the parks, it could be boating on the river. But again, we'd like to get the pulse of the real community rather than just the opinions of a few people.
Okay, sounds super.
Hey, Chris, for the group, if you may, this is Rich. One of the things that we've had a lot of success with at my employment is putting little QR tent codes that link back. I mean, you just use your cell phone, you hit the little QR, it takes you right back to a quick survey, and put them in strategic places where people are traveling to Havre de Grace to actually visit. Put them at the Lock House Museum, put them in some of the larger, more heavily populated restaurants, or any of the other things, maybe even at, if you can put them outside, places like a lighthouse. And people are more likely to do that type of survey at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rich. That
Yeah.
sounds great. I quite honestly will admit that I'm unfamiliar with that technology. If you
Okay.
could maybe shoot me an email with some of just the basic background on how that might work. And
Sure,
then I
roger
could
that.
get back to you with questions, and Maria and Lisa and I could talk that through and then develop a plan based on that. But that's an excellent suggestion. Thank you very much.
I'm sure Jeff's listening and he might have some thoughts on that as well. Going back for a moment to the marina, one of the things I think we discovered in the process of looking at Abingdon up to, Abingdon, Havre de Grace, Charlestown, Northeast, was that the density of available spaces in Havre de Grace and Perryville is enormous. And the opportunity for joint marketing might be a whole new kind of approach that could be very lucrative for all parties, everyone concerned. Jason once made the comment that Down Bay boaters don't come to Havre de Grace. Well, let's tell them why they need to come to Havre de Grace, and everybody would benefit. So the density is incredible. It's really amazing how many slips there are. Okay. Legislative Impacts Liaison Committee. If I'm not mistaken, that's what David called me about. They set up, they're supposed to meet with Steve Gamatoria. However,
Warren, that meeting has not happened. It's in David's court to coordinate with with Steve and get a date.
Right.
So we're just waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, Chris, he didn't get an answer. I think he was waiting for an answer from Harry Stokes, and I'm not sure, Harry's kind of ex officio, so I gotta, maybe we shouldn't wait. And, but at any rate, he did give me a report on that, and that's what he told me today, that he's been waiting for waiting for Harry to respond so everybody could meet with, you guys could meet with Gamatoria. So, all right, any questions of anybody on about any of these tasks, task groups, any discussion?
Warren, I don't know. I was trying to talk and I didn't get anyone. This is Clark. Back when you were talking about the hospital thing, I did meet with the folks from Erickson Communities to see if they would be interested in doing something with the old hospital. And it was a little small for them. They looked for 30 acres as kind of their sweet spot in size. But they gave me a name of another group that does more urban, smaller kind of spaces. And I've put a contact in from them and haven't really set up a time to meet with them. But I'm continuing to see if there isn't an opportunity for a senior assisted living kind of a facility in the existing building.
That's fantastic, Clark. I mean, that preserves all the infrastructure on Union. If we can, if that can be repurposed for that, for senior. And we do have a pretty sizable senior population. So,
Well,
great.
Beyond that, you have this bubble of baby boomers that are sliding now into that 70-year-old kind of age and moving up. So the demand for those types of services are going to grow exponentially in the near future.
All those here and present, put your hand up. Right? Anyway, okay, super, great, go for it, Clark. Convince them to let you do the redevelopment of the building for them.
I just want to get them there. I'm not worried about that.
All right, sounds good. All right, other questions, comments about the task groups? Obviously everybody's thinking and things are happening, and it's feels good. The last one is this evaluation. Erica uses Salesforce contact management software, so I'm pretty familiar with that kind of another twin to that, but it's transactionally based to meetings and that kind of thing. So I think now that she's up and running on that, we, the executive and Erica can get together with that list that Steve submitted as performance indices and sit down and figure out what is a good order and a good way to track them that's not onerous and doesn't really add stress to the system. So anyway, that's the report on the evaluation group, performance expectations. So, okay. Anything else today? No, we have a meeting with the Marina Commission at 6:30. So also Zoom. So I'll be better connected for that meeting than this one. I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone. I don't know what's going on. So
Stay with the iPad, Warren. It works much better.
yeah, I can tell. All right, guys. Well, if there's no other new business, no other comments, December meeting, Sometimes we meet, sometimes we celebrate. Thoughts on that, Erica?
According to the governor, celebrations are canceled
Oh,
until,
that's right. So I guess we have to have a meeting. A BYO, look at Julie, a BYO meeting.
you can do a Zoom meeting and everyone can raise a glass if you want. I've got some 15-year-old scotch here.
Yeah, I'll bring my Jameson. Water, Julie? All right. Okay, well, we'll proceed with December. Hopefully, please stay on these tasks. I think they're shaping out real well, and we can, I think we can really achieve some things that are really, really meaningful. Richard, we got to plug you in somewhere. Of all of that, what did you find interesting?
Well, it's all interesting. I'm still getting my feet wet, but working with the tech group, working with Chris and ways to to get the finger on the pulse of your tourist people and what they're visiting, what drives traffic down here. I know in my little subgroup the last time, one of the key factors that we were talking about was what drives people here. So that kind of dovetails into that. We were actually discussing pretty heavily with trying to pull like a gymnastics or cheerleading type of gym and get some interest in here, simply because of the ancillary business that goes along with that. Because parents tend to have to bring their kids. While the kids are doing their thing, they tend to stick around. They go out, they have a meal, they have a drink, they visit this, they visit that. And, to see if we could drum up that interest of that type of group or that type of thing to get them down in here. So, yeah, plug me into wherever you see fit. But I guess in the meantime, I'm going to just kind of jump into every time I hear something that I think I can help on. I'm going to attach myself to it until I get.
Oh, it sounds like you found a home, and that's really good. I think overarching, the difficult ones are going to be, what happens to the Upper Chesapeake property on Bully Rock Parkway. And of course, that's always driven, as Erica always points out, I think it's Speedle. Who's got the money? But I think the type of development that goes up there are really, it's going to be.
Just for clarification, are we talking about the one that's going in on the new single concept plan, or that little building right before you get to the golf course communities? I've heard that mentioned.
No, there's
a
a
couple
bunch
times.
of acreage.
I'm sorry?
It's everything on the right-hand side of Bully Rock Parkway as you're driving in.
Okay, roger that. So
From
yeah,
the
there is that.
From the interchange ramp to Bully Rock Parkway, all of that land to your right.
Okay, now is that including that building that is already there that is empty?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that building is still owned by the Bully Rock people, but it's unoccupied now.
Roger that.
Yeah, Bayshore. Yeah. Okay, very good. Nothing else? Thanks for putting up with my lousy connection, and I guess we'll see you next month, if not before. Anything comes up, shout. Okay? Bye.
Hey, quick one. Buy your candlelight tickets. They're on sale on Eventbrite, or you can get them at Joseph's department store.
You pull these things at the end of a meeting all the time, and you really need to insert them earlier. You really need to elbow in.
They're not part of the agenda. They're just sales pitches at the end.
Alibis always go at the end.
Yeah, but they are in many ways, those are happening things. They're real. You know?
Which is
Anyway.
why I make sure I get them in. So go get your time.
Okay, all right. I invite you to give it early.
Tomorrow.
Maria, did you take your normally copious notes today?
What do you know about my copious notes?
Well, you always take such thorough notes. Did you?
So, Erica, did you take notes?
Can you
Lauren,
send them?
Tammy's on the line.
Would you mind turning them over to David as minutes for the meeting?
So Erica said that Tammy is taking copious notes. She's
Oh.
on, yes.
Erica beat me to it. Okay. Well, it's normal. Par for the course. Okay. Very good. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Take good care. Have a good week.
Bye, everyone.
Stay safe. By the way,
Thanks. See ya.
a quick story for you. Those of you who know Dr. Loughborough, River Dental, they went to a birthday party in Harrisburg for John III. And 15 people gathered. 2 people wore a mask, John's daughter or Chip's daughter or John's sister, and her daughter, adopted daughter,